Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our main sponsors, Rise & Sons, the award-winning brewery in Cork. If you're around Cork, do call in for a pint of their many varieties of excellent beer. So this is a real special podcast tonight. Credit goes to Howard for driving in it. I have 10 Point Rule in the house. They were a hardcore band back in the early 90s. Certainly influenced a shitload of people as well right through the years. You'll be glad to know, lads, whether or not you're aware of this or not, but we'll flesh that out later. So I welcome Vince, who is the original vocalist, Dave, the drummer, Seán on guitars, and Kev on bass. So that's all the original members. So thanks for making the effort to come on the show and talk about this mythical band nearly at this stage. So I'll pass you over to Howard first of all. What was your thought process on getting the lads on, Howard? Did you hear rumours that they could be coming back, or?
I saw the Instagram post about the new release with the remastered tracks and the 2 additional tracks. And I've talked about this band on the podcast many times as being a fucking huge influence on myself. Mm-hmm. And the bands I'm still in at the moment. If you look back at those videos from the Phoenix, you can pick out every member of the Magnapina in it. Yeah. You know, fucking, we were all there just absorbing fucking live music. And in those days, it was just a little bit different. And the lads were something special at that time. And I don't think they realised the amount of influence they've had. And I know from the likes of Worn Out and Baylor, you can see exactly where the evolution began and came to fruition, I guess. But I'm excited to talk to the lads because listening back to the tracks again, it's just like being a fucking 15-year-old, 16-year-old in the Phoenix again, you know? Just bopping away, fucking great listen. I'm delighted to have you here, lads. So it's great to see you all, and you're all looking well.
Yeah, they all look fine and healthy anyway, which is fucking great, you know.
Oh God, nice.
So, like, we'll just I suppose there's no better place to start than back in. Was it Passage? You all met up, or where was the main meeting place, and how did you form 10 Point Rule?
I was the Giants, so you're up, Vince.
Vince.
Jeepers,
Do you want me to speak for? I'm happy to go first, Vince. Well, myself, Kevin, and Dave actually played in another band for a while. Just, I don't know, when we were like 16, it was short-lived sort of band, and we must have met Vince through playing gigs together. My memory isn't great.
It was. Do you know where I met you? Do you know where I met you guys first? In the back of Jack Plugs. Do you remember all the underage fellas you'd run around the side, and then down the back you were kind of over view of the bar, and you were all in there, and I was selling tickets for a concert down in Connolly's Alep. It was Rail were playing.
Fuck.
Yeah, and it was John Noon and another passage by, and I was talking to you guys, and I don't know, what was it? That someone came up this Lost and Found hardcore compilation. That he had it. I've never heard of anyone listening to hardcore ever before. And then you were a band, and yeah, I think then eventually I actually robbed 3 years from a certain battery. And it morphed into 10 Point Rule, then, didn't it? So yeah, that's a long time back now, though.
Connolly's was amazing. Like the kind of the day-long gigs down there, so good.
Do you remember that first gig? It was gas. I remember it was the bus came back, and the bus parked, and it went into this wee little shop in the middle of nowhere. And I think there was nobody even in there. And I'd see the place was not by us, no, we were grand, but there's other fellas on the bus, robbed the place, flipping blind, got back on the bus. And then this little old lady then was kind of too confused. And I still remember John Noonan was in there giving out to everyone going, "You can't be doing that, lads, you can't be doing that." And then the bus stopped again about 5 minutes up the road because somebody had to go for a wee. So then everyone else had to go for a wee. And I still remember it. This was, the metal days with the hair and whatever. And so 5 or 6 fellas lined up against the bush, and somebody started laughing. And then, what was that? And they looked over the bush, and there was a family having a barbecue. Yes, sorry. Nothing to do with the music there.
And what was the scene like back then? Was it really difficult to get even places to rehearse in for a band back then? Maybe Kev, you might take this, or Dave?
Well, I suppose 10 Point Rule, we were rehearsing it in Passage for a good while in play school. So we'd all have our feet up in these like minuscule little plastic chairs. And then, and do you remember we had something to rehearse out in Blackpool as well for a while? It's all gone. I think it was band room.
That burnt down?
I think that burnt down, yeah.
Yeah, it burnt down, yeah.
That was amazing. That was a good spot.
Well, most of the time in the play school, wasn't it? I remember
it was pretty much all the time in the play school, which is grand. But it was, but like in terms of like, I don't think we realised kind of quite how special the Phoenix was back in the day, like, you know, and it was just this real come one, come all. Doesn't matter how old you are, you know, everybody, you know, I suppose was in their own kind of music, but everyone just kind of came together and it was just loads of energy and really accepting and, you know, and like, you know, anybody who kind of wanted a gig could kind of come along and tag along, and it was amazing.
No security really, or no anything.
Except for your man Martin, your man fell on the door. Stocky guy, and he threw a fella down the stairs.
I remember it. And then there was a fella tried to stop him, and the fellow who tried to stop him got a worse beating than the fellow who got thrown down the stairs. He was a nice fella. He was a legit bloke. He was nice. The fella that got into trouble was stealing stuff off other kids. So
it was my sister's wallet. My sister's friend's wallet.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, let's go back.
So the Phoenix was the main area for you. Like, was the Cruiskeen Lawn and Nancy Spain still running gigs as well at that time?
I think when we came in, Nancy's was a force a few years beforehand. We just missed it, and then there's literally, you know, Fred's was only just after opening, sort of. It did gigs, but it would have been a step above where we were at, you know, as the lads were, you were 15, 16, I was 17, 18. So the Phoenix then, which I remember we just went in, it was Daniel's cousin, Francis, and myself went in one day. Francis was the first drummer in 10 Point Rule, I think. But we weren't really 10 Point Rule, it was just the same name. And we went up thinking, we'll organise a gig. And we walked in, and then they said yes. We were like, oh, fuck. No, we have to sort this out. And we knew they had a PA, but no one knew. There was no sound engineer, there was no mixing desk. We used that PA once a couple of years later, do you remember? And I got electrocuted when I touched the microphone. And we never used it again, ever. And I remember actually, Daniel probably heard this one now. We robbed a speaker of old Frankie Howard. Frankie Howard, Daniel's granddad.
My grandfather. It was actually Shammy Burns' speaker. He used to use it for a keyboard.
Yeah. And and the thing when we run the speaker up, we up to the Phoenix. But sure, we didn't have a penny, so we had to wheel it back in a fucking shopping cart down the line. And Francis went on strike halfway down the line. He was like, he wasn't doing it anymore. He just sat down. So yeah, sorry.
And what about your kit, Dave? How'd you get into the drumming?
This is the amazing thing about the scene back then. It was so DIY. I never bought a drumstick the whole time I was in 10 Point Rule. And we played gigs in like the Phoenix, Nancy's. We recorded. We went 2 different sessions. I didn't even own a pair of drumsticks at that point. And that was the scene, but that was the way it was. Somebody had an amp, somebody had a guitar. Like I don't think I ever bought anything for the drums, you know?
So how did you practice? Like, was it just from rent off the lads? Like,
I remember the first time I played with the lads was in Connolly's, and it was we were called the Salt and Battery, and we were a 3-piece. It was me, Kevin, Seán, and I can remember before the gigs, Seán gave me a tape of the songs. It was all covered, and I was just tapping along on the table, and that's when. And then I went to the gig, and I was just able to do it, and that's when I realized I can do this now. This is great, you know. So that's how we practiced. I was banging the table at home from a tape that Seán gave me. That was it.
I think we got the drums that we used from Niall Cal, Seán, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They were out in Niall Call's backyard. He bought them and decided Niall would have been my age, and he got his first job. In his first couple of paychecks, he bought a drum kit, but then got really frustrated that he wasn't really good straight away, and just basically let them out the back. And yeah, we
mastered.
Yeah, we borrowed them, and yeah, it was.
Fair play to him. He let everybody use the drum kit.
Yeah, no,
I'd say it was an absolute shit. Was it?
I remember everybody's using it. Like I remember thinking it was a really good kit. Yeah.
But again, the thing is as well, like nobody was rocking up the Phoenix gigs with Zildjian cymbals or anything like that. You know, it was rough enough. Like
it's really hard to put it across to the modern way of thinking, but you'd have a gig in the Phoenix and there'd be one band would book the gig. Let's say 10 by Rule would book a gig, and you wouldn't know who was supporting until the day you got there, you know? So there could be 4 or 5 bands floating around, and they'd be like, do you want to play a gig? You know, can you get us an amp and you can play a gig, you know?
Yeah. So and everyone look around at everyone else's amps and say, like, okay, we'll use your bass amp, and you know, you know, when you're going to cobble together whatever the best combination was.
Who were the best bands around at that time, lads, that you were looking up to? Maybe in Ireland, or bring it down to even Cork. Were there any bands there that were just like, holy shit, we want to sound like them?
I think for us, in our group, there was a band coming out of Dublin called Residents. They were unbelievable. 2000 Strong, they were another kind of part of them. And they were lovely fellas as well. They were absolute lovely fellas. I think they would have been a big one.
There was Headboard. Remember Headboard?
Yeah.
They were a bit older than us. I don't remember playing that much, but I remember seeing them a few times. I loved them.
And I remember thinking, like, yeah, they look grown up. They look like a real band.
they had proper amplifiers with like, that wasn't a combi speaker. They had like a head and a speaker. I was like, wow.
It was Rail for me. I used to love Rail. Like John Noonan with his eyes closed, you know, and I remember like, yeah, they were some amazing riffs, you know, and that's the thing. Maybe we'll talk about it later, but why we went and did the remaster. But like, I can't remember any of the Rail songs, and you can't get your hands on them. No, you know what I mean.
What you give me, what you give me, how I may be. That was one of them.
And were they Cork bands,
and they were all really decent and supportive as well, like, you know, because like we were so young, like, you know, all still in school, Joe, and like kind of, Joe, they really kind of bring you along and support you, encourage you, like.
And they used to like, I was thinking, remember the other day, like they used to we give us a cut of the money for those gigs. I remember going like, and I was working in the petrol station and getting like £2.50 an hour or something on the weekends, and I was nearly getting as much going in and playing, you know what I mean, that gig or something. You know, you get like £10 or something, just to go and play in the Phoenix. It was unbelievable.
Go out straight away and get flagging.
I remember we played a gig with them, and like that, they were really supportive. Like we used all our gear, and they, you know, they didn't care. But I remember Dave would like buy a bottle of cider for us to share and everything, because we were like 16 or something. You know, they were like, they look after the young fellas.
Jesus
Christ. Different times, man. And there was a band called Kerosene, I remember from back then as well.
My all-time favorite band ever.
Oh, they were fucking so vicious live. Great band. I forget the singer's name.
Sully. Bono Sullivan.
Sully. He used to wear his mother's shirt on stage and things.
And how far away were Five Will Die at that stage from being a band, Howard?
Oh, we were a while off. So Five Will Die would have come around late 2005, I guess. I would have been in Sludge. I was in Sludge for a period of time back then, which would have been towards the tail end of the 10-point rule era, I guess.
Okay.
But I was so young. I was 13, 14 going to see these guys, you know.
Oh, so really?
I was only just starting to dip my toe into bands. When the lads used to practice in the play school, I'd be outside poking a ball against the wall with pieces, you know. We'd be just listening in and trying to get the courage to ask, can we come in and watch the jam, you know? And from that, then, you know, Frank, it was Force Me Under, I think, at the time.
Yeah, that was
practicing in the play school. And it was my first time playing on a drum kit or playing in a big amp kind of thing, you know. So that's how I started jamming. It was just picking up the scraps from the lads jamming, you know.
There's actually Dave did a video. He did a home video there at the weekend from old footage. for one of the songs for the remaster. It's actually very funny because I'll leave Dave talk about it, but it comes to the door, Modern Phoenix, then it opens up and it's back in the 90s. And Daniel, you're in it about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I've spotted you. Yeah.
How'd you get your hands on that, Dave? That footage?
Somebody had it up on. There's 3 parts to it, and it's somebody. I think it was somebody from Headboard.
It was Johnny Lawler, was it?
Johnny Lawler, maybe.
Johnny Lawler, yeah.
Yeah, somebody had a videoed a few gigs and a couple of gigs in Nancy, so it's in 3 parts. And Kerosene are there as well, Dan, and we were just in the middle of it, and it was like you wouldn't find it by typing in the band's names. It's called Cork Obscene.
Oh, okay, I've come across it on your website.
And I came across it then, like whatever. So I just chopped it up for the single thing that or for the remaster, you know. But it's good crack, like.
Because sometimes like, in some bits, if I was looking at it, like, and in some bits it might be like 30 people in the crowd, like, but there's still people like flying off the railings, being caught by like 8 guys, you know, and then going off onto the floor, you know. But then like there was other gigs, like not in those clips, like where it was jammed, you know, and like you'd be kind of heading back towards the bar, and it was good fun.
How many people would they let in Phoenix, or was the word capacity even talked about? Like as many can fit, really.
At all, you know. If you look at the video, there's nobody behind the bar, and there's no, like, you know, they just let a load of 16-year-olds in on a Friday night.
There was an upstairs as well, so there was more people upstairs looking down the show, you know.
That was through the balcony. Then you'd have the really young people up there hiding, you know. But,
I remember. I think it was Force Me Under, Vince, or else it was a post 10-point rule gig. But Johnny Bailey threw a lot of firecrackers down on top of the netting, and they stopped people throwing glasses at the band, and he fucked a lot of firecrackers into it. I'm sure the whole thing went up in flames there.
That's a very mild Johnny Bailey story.
I was thinking of a few Johnny Bailey stories, and that was the one that I could fucking say, you know.
Jesus Christ.
I remember that these gigs though, there was one Halloween party we did. I think we did it as a fundraiser for the dogs home or something.
Yeah,
and I think it was £2 in, and we raised about between 600 and 700 euros. So, and I remember that night there was people outside hanging out that would kind of stagger coming in because it was too full. So yeah, it was health and safety wouldn't have liked it too much these days, you know.
Okay, I'm going to play a song off the EP. Is it an EP or an album, lads? What would you say? An EP?
That's an EP.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll play the title track, Say My Name, just to give people a flavour of what you were about. I can only imagine what that would have been like live. Fucking hell. Still sounds great. I haven't done that.
Yeah, it sounds class. I'm just wondering, who was it that, like, when you're getting them remastered, was that in 99 that came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm shit at holding on to things. Like, who had that in good enough condition that it could be remastered how many years later? Because, like,
that's the thing about it is it's so well documented. Like, there was the video of the Phoenix that we found like 3 years ago. Like, that was a real portal back in time. Couldn't believe it existed, and we could see ourselves back then, because it was kind of like, oh, we were in a band. We totally I was dismissive of it, like, yeah, it's grand, until you saw it again and was like, fucking hell, I remember it now. And then, like, the CD was in an attic in my mom's house, and it was in perfect condition, and there's like loads of photos knocking around. Like, it was actually really well documented. So to go away and remaster it again was it was pretty easy, really. And
yeah, who remastered it?
Richie and at WAV.
Yeah.
Kind of goes to Richie, you know. But yeah, he was saying that because I just presumed, right, that it wasn't mastered at all. I thought it was just a demo.
Yeah,
we just got a mix and that was it. But I gave him the WAVs, and he was going, no, this is actually mastered. There's not much I can do with it. So, like, all he was able to do is, and I can tell the difference because I know it so well, but he just brightened it up, and the guitars are kind of beefier, and the bass is more prominent, and the cymbals are they're more clear, like, they're more clean, like. But yeah, it was just, the whole thing was very well documented, you know, so it was easy enough.
And I have to say, fair play to Hackett for kind of, you know, being the energy behind kind of getting all this up and running, you know. It was great.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did it actually start? Because when I saw the Instagram page go up, because I remember hearing about 10-point rule in Kilkenny. I remember, I think, like, 20 Bulls each were a bit after. I think they were like 2002, 2003. But I remember, like, first time going to see 20 Bulls each, just being like, what the fuck is hardcore? And then people, like, trying to walk me down of, like, the hierarchy of what is come. And 10-point rule were always a band that kept being brought up. And when I saw the Instagram page come up, I straight away was, number one was like, right, messagey straight away, being like, what's the actual story? Is this for the crack? Are you gonna do a gig, and when can I put it on? How did that whole thing of actually start? Was it just a gradual thing? Was this over years? Did it all of a sudden happen and it's fucking snowballed, or what?
No, I suppose I should take this one because I did kind of go about it. But, like, I suppose what happened was during COVID,
yeah,
I got a Facebook account for the first time in my life, and then Vince, he's like, "Oh, Vince, how's it going? Blah blah, whatever." And just started kind of reconnecting with people. And then I remember, so we recorded "Say My Name" in April of 1999, and I do know we recorded another 2 tunes, but I had no memory of actually recording it. I had no memory of that time. I don't know if it was the same for you lads. If any of you remember us doing those other 2 tunes.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
You'd your leaving search, you see. It was probably taking all your focus.
Yeah. But and I said it to Vince, and Vince was like, "Oh, I have them somewhere, I think," and he found it on an old hard drive. And I was really surprised that the sound, like, they sounded like we should have sounded. Or like,
I like the 2 newer songs 100 times more than the songs from the first demo. I think it's because, you know, obviously listening to my own voice, it's just from the demo I'm going, oh god, that's very high pitched. With the newer songs, yeah, it's a bit beefier, it's a bit harder, you know.
So I think we were all really surprised at the sound of those 2 songs that we had recorded that we'd forgotten about. And I think the time when we recorded them, it was our leaving cert. Kev, you were going off to Trinity to do medicine. You know, like, we were in different. Like, the band was done in our eyes, I think. So when those songs were recorded, you just like, fuck, it doesn't matter, who cares, you know. But they sounded so good. And then I think what actually happened was I have a radio show on UCC 98.3, and I wanted to kind of get a show together, all old kind of bands from back in the day that I was knocking around. I realized that it's impossible, because if they're not digitized or if they're not on streaming services, it's impossible to find them. So then I thought, well, look, for posterity, look, we all have kids, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't it be great to just get them on streaming services? And then I thought, well, if you do that, we might as well get them remastered so they'll sound a bit better. And then I was like, well, if we're going to do that, we might as well, like, could try and advertise it a little bit. So I got an Instagram page going, and it just kind of went that way. And then it was like, well, then I might as well make a video for it. Then it was like, and then we got a sale, and I was like, oh, this feels fucking weird. I don't want to take money for this. Just fucking Corks Penny Dinners, you know. So, because I volunteered at Penny Dinners there recently one morning, and it's just fucking relentless down there. And so I thought, well, look, if we make anything, let's just give it to them, you know.
Yeah,
that's the story behind it.
And so literally, 10-point rule existed up to the Leaving Cert. Leaving Cert was done, and then the band more or less split up. Would that be right? Or
I think what happened was we did, after the Leaving Cert, we did 1 or 2 gigs without Kev, and it was Johnny Byrne from Monkstown out the south.
Oh yeah, John Byrne.
Yeah, and it was because he filled in. I wasn't the same really, to be honest. It was.
I'm sorry.
It worked out right for you. There's no problems, you know. But no, so I think it's just things happen, you know. I think if like, you know, this was never going to be. It was just a kind of a like teenage passion thing, you know. And
I think it actually like ran out a perfect length of time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We did the CD. We had a couple of really good gigs. And it sort of finished, you know what I mean? It was kind of like a perfect time with the Phoenix. Then we had some really good gigs in Nancy's. And then, you know, we didn't drag on too long. It didn't go on. It was really, we were talking about it today. It was only like 18 months or something, the whole, even though it feels like a lot longer looking back at it. But it was like a perfect length of time almost.
Do you feel like it had that, when you're saying perfect length of time, that it didn't even have the chance to get stained by something they're like, you know,
didn't go sour, we didn't go play gigs when nobody was there or start playing the songs and we didn't like them, or we got bored of playing the same songs. It was sort of all good.
And I think as well as the fact that we're here talking, okay, it's actually gas, but we have to say it as well. I don't think we were saying it earlier on we have a WhatsApp group now. The 4 of us haven't been in any kind of a virtual room or a room in 20 something years, you know, which is gas. Seen each other.
Amazing.
Separate, but not all together, you know. Yeah. So it is. I think that's nice. That, you know, it was what it was. It was a teenage, just teenage passion project, you know. And I think Dave went on to become a proper professional musician for a long time, and still he's coming back to this teenage thing, you know. So it was special for what it was, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the quality, though, it's just, I don't think he realized it at the time. Certainly Howard did. But, you know, just listening to those songs on that EP, I mean, there's social commentary. There's the musicianship is fucking excellent. There's absolutely no fat in the songs. It's just fucking really in your face. I mean, there's like we'll just maybe talk about your influences. I hear Biohazard, I hear Rage Against the Machine, I hear Beastie Boys. What else? Yeah. There's just like so many things running through the arteries of 10-point rule there that all became relative as the years went on, you know.
Yeah, I think go on, Vince.
Sorry, I'd say it was. I think they're all. Yeah, I think the Beastie Boys and Rage, for me. Yeah, definitely. But I think a lot of it was that tape, wasn't it? What was it? This is European hardcore. Yeah. Lost and found, you know.
Jesus Christ.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, compilation.
What is this? Go on.
Yeah, Seán,
it was a compilation that you found somewhere, Seán, wasn't it? Or was it?
I got it like we were in Holland or something. Visiting, visiting some family in Holland. Picked it up when I was, I don't know, 14 or 15 in some little, you know, record shop. And it had like, I don't know, about 50 songs on it. Some of them were like 30 seconds, you know, some a minute or whatever. And all different sort of types of hardcore music, all hardcore, but, you know, different sort of types. Yeah. And we were just going through it and picking some of the songs. It's probably, our songs were like bits and pieces of all the songs on that CD.
Yeah, there was Crivets, Rotterdam Posse.
Yeah.
That's mad. But Howard,
I think with the influences as well, like we were all completely very different. Like Kev, you would have been into house music, you know.
Yeah. And like Joe, like Joe loved playing the gigs and everything, you know, but like I wasn't listening to much metal or hardcore right during the week. It was kind of drum and bass really was what I was into, you know. But I think we still, Joe, we were all into our separate things. But like when we all came together, we all kind of got into it.
Wow. Howard, talk to me about the lads there, about, again, you know, what you were hearing as a fan, and, you know, for that short period of time that 10-point rule existed, like they were probably, in your opinion, one of the best around at the time.
Oh, live, without doubt.
Yeah.
For me, it was just like that when the lads were practicing in the play school, used to listening in and kind of absorbing a few things. But I remember watching Metallica at Moscow 1991 in Vince's gaff on video.
I remember the VHS. Yeah, I remember buying that.
And it blew my fucking mind at the time, you know. So it was a case of I used to be walking around wearing Joe Blogg's Raver jeans and a Metallica t-shirt, you know. But the first influences to me were just talking to Vince and being in his house with his brothers. I was, you know, good friends with his brothers and Vince, and he used to be listening to things like Prong and Machine Head or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, I used to be fucking everything he was listening to, I'd go get and try to listen to it as well, kind of thing.
Okay.
And I'd been to a therapy gig in 1997 in the old Henry's, and that was my first proper big gig, you know. But I saw 10-point rule maybe 2 years later, and I just remember thinking, this is a different energy altogether. It was just one of those things. There was no phone cameras or any of that shit. It was just everybody was just waiting for the band to get going. And from the first beat to the last beat, it was just manic. It was just insane. But a big part of that was Vince's energy on stage, just that fucking court master, circus master, whatever you want to call it. He just knew how to play the crowd and how to get the kids involved in it and get excited about it. And he had just the right amount of pinch of social commentary at the time. And the lads were backing him up. It was just energy. And at that level, in that small little micro space of the Phoenix, I mean, you'll never find a more perfect match, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you give 70, 80 kids a bit of space, they're going to have a bit of fun, you know. It's and I think that we were lucky that we had it, you know. We had that place.
Give yourself credit as well, Vince, though, you know.
Yeah.
Seán, writing riffs for 10-point rule, had you any influences, or were you using that compilation religiously to inspire you, or what?
I don't remember any of the process, to be honest, of anything. I don't know. I just remember just playing them, but I don't really remember sitting down and what the process was. But just came out with them somehow.
And do you still play guitar, Seán?
Not really, no. Every couple of months, I'll pick up an acoustic guitar. That's about it.
Wow. So and how did you get your first guitar?
I remember buying that red guitar I had,
the red and white one,
second hand off someone in Glenmire. I don't know how many years ago that was, but yeah, guitar and an amp. Getting it 1 year when I was, 13 or 14 years.
I remember there was like a big group of us, and there was like kind of one Christmas, and everybody got a guitar and a 20-watt amp. You know, there's about like 13 guitarists with Metallica tabs, you know.
Brilliant. I'm going to play another song off the EP. I think this is one of them, Vince, that you were on about. Is it Bottle It? Is that one of the ones?
Yeah, that's one of the new ones. Could you play the other one, though? Tap My Weakness. I think that's the strongest one.
Which one is it, Vince?
Tap My Weakness.
Was that not the first one I played? Oh, no, I Say My Name. Okay, Tap My Weakness.
I think this is probably the strongest one.
Okay, we'll give this a blast then.
Right.
Class.
Yes.
Evan, they're a dead cult band all day long, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they already said no to a gig though.
Yeah, you haven't asked them. They haven't asked enough times yet, Evan.
No, it was once. Yeah, no, I'll manage it sooner or later. I know I will.
You have to keep plugging away, Evan.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Look, there'll be a Christmas you're all home. Mike Got Spike did it there. When was it? In August. They all happened to be in Ireland at the same time and did a gig. So
Wow.
look,
Never say never.
Never say never.
There will be some Christmas that everyone's home, and if I get fucking
but also to add to that, like any of the upcoming Magna Pina gigs in the future, we regularly practice those 4 songs from Say My Name.
Really?
Genuinely, we play those songs all the fucking time. And we were going to cover. We were actually going to cover 1 or 2 of them over the pandemic, but we ended up doing R&Z and something. But when we're playing, if any of you are in Cork, let us know. We'll come up and do a song. You know, if it's just one of you in the
story, if you'd like to watch it,
do a song. I'm looking at you,
see
Vince,
the sweat forming on Kevin's forehead already. It's not a challenge, Kev. It's an invitation. Howard, have you a story as well about was it the lads were involved in a Nirvana cover? Some of them.
Oh, so Vince would probably have been at this, or probably would have been there. It was a lunchtime gig in St. Peter's in Passage.
No, I was gone.
You know what I'm on about?
Yeah, Francis Informed me. I heard it. Yeah.
So there was a Frank, the old drummer in Tempi Rule. He had a 3-piece. He used to do Nirvana covers and things like that. And they were playing a lunchtime show. John Perm was on bass actually, and Dave Romani on drums. And they were playing "Rape Me" by Nirvana, and our principal's name was Mr. Ahern, and we used to call him Ahern. And he changed the words to "Rape Me Ahern." But so the principal saw this and started freaking out and started running through the crowd trying to get them. But there was a mosh pit happening, so next thing a foot out of nowhere.
And the meter has run out in Passage.
Oh shit!
1 foot out of nowhere. Hit him, is it?
Yeah, foot came up.
Put a euro in the fucking euro.
Snap him across. And video the whole thing and has it on camera. It's just fucking. I was hoping you'd know who'd have that footage.
Nah.
Gone.
Dave, did you compile the inner notes for the EP, or who did?
The thing on Bandcamp, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's an inner sleeve and all that. Like, so I presume obviously it was on a CD, and
that I'd say that was all Vince. That the original one back in '89. I'd say that was.
They're all your notes, Vince. Then.
I honestly I can't remember. Probably I remember Seán did the CDs, because I remember when we did it, Seán had to go. You went down to a shop in Douglas, didn't you? And he was sat there burning the CDs for 2 days.
What my dad knew had like a computer repair shop. It was the only one that had like a CD burner. And I just went there and just sat there, and did them like one at a time in this thing, just copying them.
And a load of them didn't work and stuff then.
Oh, Jesus.
At the CD launch, we sold 10 blank CDs by accident. and I'm at the best of times, I'm a little bit compulsive. I really freaked me out. The 10 people have blank CDs. I tracked down 8 of them. So there's 2 people out there who have blank CDs.
So if anyone listening who had a blank CD 25 years ago.
I actually did the exact same thing with old bands when I was younger, because you'd have like a stack on the right of just the blank CDs, and you'd bring them over until you have a stack on your left of fully done CDs. But the amount I can guarantee you, because it did happen to me, was like it'll look like it's after ripping or doing whatever. But nah, it did fuck all. I definitely had people in my school at the time that came up and started snapping at me for just giving them a blank CD.
So what I want to do here is just trigger some memories. Is Vince compiled the thanks list, and there's bands here which are fucking hilarious, man. So
Okay,
I'm gonna try and attempt to pronounce some of them, right? So the EP was recorded in BPM Studios in Douglas on the 20th and 21st of April 1999, and the thanks go to Abinanada, right? Whoever the fuck.
Abinanda.
Okay, right.
Unreal, fantastic band from Sweden.
From Sweden, okay.
Yeah, we supported them, and it was a big deal for us because there's an interesting story about the Phoenix, actually. I'll very quickly digress. Refused just after they recorded The Shape of Punk to Come. There was a lad from Carrigaline called Joe Collor, and he used to put on shows, and he really drove a lot. I kind of took care of the local bands, trying to get the local stuff going. Joe took the touring bands because he knew what he was doing, whereas I was just more, I don't know, just winging it. But refused just after recording Shape of Punk to Come, wanted to book a gig in Cork. Joe tried to get them into the Phoenix. There was a DJ playing that night. We couldn't get it. There was no other venue would touch young fellas putting on gigs.
Was that
so the night Refused were meant to be playing after releasing the most important
holy shit
CD of 15, 20 years. There was a guy upstairs playing Around the World every fourth song to about 10 people, you know. So that was a near miss. So then Abinanda came. They're also from Umea, like Refused there. They came a couple of months later, and they were just releasing their second album, which was again not typical hardcore. It was very dynamic and funky and whatever. And yeah, that was a big deal for me anyway. I was just like, wow, fucking hell. Sorry. So excuse me. Sorry.
So there's going to be that level of story about every band you begin to mention.
No. Stop.
Okay, so Assault and Battery.
That's the three lads, yeah.
Yeah. Bloody Mutants.
Bloody Mutants. Oh, I can't remember. Okay.
This is brilliant. The next band are brilliant. Blue Rinse Grannies.
Yes. They were fantastic. They were a band of three lads. They were called Hardcore Muscle and Fitness.
Yeah.
They were three the skinniest lads you ever meet, you know.
They're the songs of Macaulay Culkin and the Killer Bees.
Yeah, brilliant. But they were gas because literally they were. I'll say it now to this stage. I'd say, you know, I'm in my mid-40s now. Without exaggeration, I've been to well over 1,000 shows, you know, and they're the most punk band that I've ever seen because they hated everybody. They hated punks. They hated metalers. Anything that came with a notion of a group, they were like, nah, fuck, destroy it, you know. And they were brilliant. They had these funny songs, and they were really good players. One day I was in Thailand, in Bangkok, and I ran into the drummer, Mick, on the street, and it was just the most random thing ever, like, you know. So,
okay, the next band we've all heard of, Brawl.
Yeah, brilliant. We supported them on a F the Jazz weekend, and they were, you know, a proper band, and we were only young fellas, and they didn't really talk to us, but you know, didn't matter.
Okay. Brinskill Bomb Beat.
Oh man,
was that the guy who had the angle grinder?
Yeah. And they were on live at 3 once, remember?
was it Eurostar they went for? They went for the Eurovision. And,
I think they did, yeah.
Really?
They got through the first round or something, but your man had a wild look at the time. It was kind of
I remember seeing them upstairs in Fred's. And like
Phoenix as well.
Your man with angle grinder, just all these all over the place. And we're all just buying these like tiny little tapes, you know, with a photocopy.
I've forgotten about the angle grinder, man. The sparks on stage.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Cheapskate.
Cheapskate, they were a big deal. They're from Kilkenny or Dublin. I can't really remember. They were very, very good.
Day 13.
Yeah, they'd have been Rail after Rail finished.
Okay. Defect
were a bunch of lads from Aherbulla that played kind of new metal before new metal was really a thing. I thought they were brilliant. I really liked them.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Defect that came after, which were a trash band.
Okay.
I think there's about 500 bands called Defects.
Yeah. There was a connection there to Dave, actually, because the lads in Defects formed a band then called Black Orange, which was Mick Flannery's first ever band. And then you played drums for Mick Flannery then for a while, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah, I played guitar for him, for about...
That was it, when he was starting out. So, sorry.
Okay.
But,
Descent? Descent? Descent?
They were from Northern Ireland,
Northern Ireland, yeah.
Yeah.
And Down, D-O or Dower, D-O-W-R.
Yeah, that was, there were two lads from Cork doing industrial metal. It was the Dave from Room 101 and Ronan.
Keenaghan, Room 101.
Yeah, I can't remember Ronan second. Two lovely fellas.
Okay,
Ronan
front side.
Ronan from Bellinus, that's it. Yeah.
Front side.
Remember the gig? Sorry. Do you remember the gig that Room 101 did in the Phoenix? He was probably the first guy I saw with a drum machine.
Which one?
He had a drum machine and a guitar. So that was kind of like for 1999. That was kind of new, you know. And he was wearing. I remember he wore a jumpsuit and a gas mask. Yeah. And then, towards the end of the show, he took out a load of Denny sausages and started.
Daddy wanted sausage.
And he was on his guitar strap. He was on Blackboard Jungle a couple of weeks beforehand to the quiz show for school kids, and he had his Blackboard Jungle singing. And I remember somebody at the show recognized me, was like, "You were on Blackboard Jungle a few weeks ago," you know.
He had a great answer on Blackboard Jungle. They asked him what was the closest celestial body to the Earth. And Dave Murphy from Rona 1 said, well, my favourite celestial body is Pamela Anderson, but I'll go with the moon. He was a legend. Like the show is like, you could do a whole podcast on Dave Murphy's Room 101 Queen Kong stuff. Oh,
he's over in Berlin.
That's right, yeah.
And I think he was playing with the girl from Euroni Massive the last time I heard about him.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Front side, lads.
They were an English kind of rap metal-y kind of band. They were very good.
Headboard?
Yeah.
Legends, hardcore legends. They had no from every single hardcore band in Cork ever would have been their founding bass player, I think. And then, I'm sorry.
I've heard of the next band, Honey Badger. I've heard of them.
Yeah, they were lads from Kinsale. They were playing kind of Turbo ACs, proto new second wave punk. Really cool.
Yeah, Carly's Fridge.
They were a band. They used to do it was like very pop, kind of grunge, but really like dark lyrics about serial killers and things. And but they were brilliant. I think I saw at one stage. I saw every one of their gigs until I don't know. University started.
Another class name here is no, sorry. Okay, I thought it was to say Pedestrial, but I thought it was Pedestrial Piddle. Is Piddle a different band?
Piddle's a different band. Yeah. That was Tyke's band actually. You see it in the video. You should put a link up to the video that Dave made.
Yeah,
the footage from the Phoenix, because you'll see some of these heads, and
people will see themselves in it. Like picking out guys who were still playing.
Yeah, Tyke was in that as well. Yeah, he's I think these lads, they just decided, there was a scene going, and we'll get involved in getting the whole lot, and they just started a band. I think Fiddle was the name.
Plagiarism. No,
that was Dennis Coveney from Flatline.
Do some memory, Vince.
I was going to say.
I just look.
That's great. Give a shout out to these.
No, there was Dennis Coveney from Flatline, and somebody, John from Flatline as well, and they just did metal covers.
Okay.
They did them very well. Like, they were proper musicians. Like,
it's a bit like Hangar 18 became afterwards. It's the same guys.
Similar members, actually. I say that half the band would be the same.
Yeah. So there's 3 or 4 left. Section 8.
Oh yeah.
Punk lads from Ballyvorney.
I remember Section 8 really well. Saw them play quite a bit in the Phoenix back then. They were on pretty much every other weekend.
Okay. So SFE.
That was one of Francis's bands then, I think.
Oh, one of his 3 month. Change name again 3 months later.
And so then, obviously, we talked about Sludge Hook. The Steam Pig.
They were a punk band from Dublin. They would have been a good bit older than us. They were like the real deal. They've been playing for ages and ages. We supported them once in the Spalpeen. You're probably just trying to get. I think when you're putting all these bands on, the older bands, you know, that you kind of like, you're hoping that you might read it and invite you up to Dublin for a gig. But
That was the fucking plan, obviously. Yeah. and the last one there, Vince, is 2,000 strong.
Brilliant, fantastic. If anyone is listening to this still after whatever 40 minutes and wants to check out like hardcore from Ireland from the early 2000s, they were brilliant. They lived it. I can't remember the Ado was once Anto, and I can't remember the other singer, but two gentlemen, again a bit older than us, were really, you know, enthusiastic that there was something happening in Cork as well. You know, they'd come down and they was, you know, just so into it.
And I think a lot of the bands that came to Cork as well, like, you know, they were really up for it being not this kind of divided scene. You know, it wasn't like the hardcore kids here and the punk kids here. Yeah. It was just like, you know, goth kids and everybody kind of all in together, and there was no politics, and, you know, they were all like, oh, wow, that's great, like, you know.
Yeah. It was something, actually, it was weird, but when I went to the States first in 2000, I couldn't quite grasp that it was so clannish, you know, that you had to dress this way, you had to look this way, because obviously in Cork, in a self-grown thing, was come as you are, you know.
Yeah, it's very much that way now, still, isn't it, Evan? Thank God.
I think Kev, what you're saying, especially, is like, I think what I love about Cork, the most is with the scene. It's not, you have the Cork hardcore scene here, you have, you know, whatever else here. It's just all one, you know. Like, I don't think there's any divide in genres specifically, like, which in a lot of places you will get. Like, there's, you know, like in Dublin have a very specific Dublin hardcore thing, and you know, a lot of things won't mix. Whereas in Cork, I don't really think people give a fuck, and I love that. It's just, there's a good gig on. There's, I think, you know, it's playing into the fact that people don't actually just listen to one type of music. And I think it's stupid to think that one type is for one person, another type is for another. You can have, you know, Cork has great mixed bills, and they do well, you know.
There's always an eclectic side of music to Cork, more so than any other fucking city, I think.
I think it comes as well to, like, even now, because there's a lack of venues, it's like it's either, you know, band together and make something work, or just don't be involved at all. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if we had loads of venues to choose from, you probably could venture off, and, you know, one style will start growing in one venue, and, you know, another in another. But because we're kind of limited, it's like people just want to go to the gigs. Wherever they can get their hands on gigs, they'll go, you know, which is, I guess, a double-edged sword sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we need more money.
Yeah. I'm going to play one more song, lads. You can request it. I was going to play What You Know, but I don't know. Do you?
Can we get a bit of Love Denial?
Love Denial, then.
Yeah, Love Denial.
Okay. All right. Excellent stuff. This is it. And we'll finish up after that.
Yes.
Reunite that I left life
On the boys.
I remember there was a guy in school, and he heard that. He gave him the CD, and he was like, "That's fucking awful shit, man." But the middle part of that song,
So, lads, that's it. Listen, thanks for coming on the show and being an important cog in the Irish metal hardcore scene. And it's very important to acknowledge these bands. And you're the most fucking laid-back lads, and totally weren't even aware of this. But I mean, as Howard will attest, and Evan as well, that like your name is out there, man. And you know, it's great to have you to come on the show and talk about this. You know, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Cheers. And come here, Dave. To say to Dave, thanks for putting all the work in the last couple of weeks. It's not self-evident that people do it, and you know, obviously, we've been distant from it for a long time. And it just cheers, man. Cheers for doing all the work. All right, we appreciate it.
Otherwise, it was an absolute pleasure. You know, it was all done. Like I said, we kind of didn't realize that. I suppose it would have been dismissive of it for years, and just when you found those two tracks, and it's like I was like, oh fucking hell! I wish the first 5 songs we recorded sounded like, or we got the sound that we got in the last two songs. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But, yeah, it was all there. And honestly, like I don't think any of us had any idea that the name 10 Point Rule would have kind of resonated with some bands afterwards. But no idea.
I think I was going to say that.
Yeah, but Dan, I think Dan had an interview in the Examiner. He kind of mentioned it. That was a real eye opener for. I was like, "Fucking hell, really?"
Yeah.
What were you saying, Seán?
I was only talking to Richie before the podcast of how nervous I was coming on to talk to you guys, because it genuinely, like, I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much of an influence you've been, particularly yourself, Vince. I've nothing but gratitude and thanks for laying some sort of foundation for someone like myself to actually have something to look towards, to enjoy, and see music as just this fucking visceral force that just carry you through hard times. Yeah. So from the bottom of my heart, lads, thank you for what you've done. I'm so fucking happy to see a new release from 10 Point Rule in 2023, fucking 20 odd years later. So thank you.
Cheers, Dan.
So, Seán.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had to second what Dave said. No idea that we would have had that sort of influence, and it's just great to catch up like this and hear about some of that, you know. So thanks for organising this.
Yeah, next time we home from us, we'll have to catch up the 4 of us for a
gig.
No,
we'll points first anyway.
We'll take it slow. We'll have a point anyway.
Have a few beamish first.
Wait till the bullshit starts. You know.
We do a gig and make sure you get a flag in each.
I just want to say as well, like we didn't do this. It was just for posterity to have it on a streaming service, so it'd be handy to fucking play it if you wanted to play it. But I suppose that grew into an Instagram page and a Bandcamp page. But look, Penny Dinners is an amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, good man.
Any money that we make from the remastered demo will go to Penny Dinners. So, you know, it's getting a bit of a response, but it would be great if it translated into a few bob for them, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I'll put the link on it anyway, Dave, on the show. So
what's that?
I'll have the link to the EP on the show anyway, on the show notes, on the podcast, and on YouTube as well. So we'll make sure that's included.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's it, lads. Thanks to Vince, Dave, Seán, and Kev of 10 Point Rule coming on the show and talking about the myths and dispelling some of the myths, and some great stories as well along the way, lads. I much appreciated for that.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thanks a million. Cheers.
And thanks to my co-hosts, Evan and Howard, as usual.
Thank you, Richie, for having these lads on. Made an old man's dream.
Okay, that's good to hear, Howard. That's good to hear. Just make sure you keep putting that money into the fucking internet box behind you there. And as I always end the show, and I'm sure everybody will agree, no matter fucking what age you are, the local scene is the most important scene, so please support it, okay?